Today, I'm gonna explain you chess principles that every beginner should know to play way better and improve faster. I'm gonna be playing on chess.com against someone from my Discord community. We're playing someone who's 556, who's from Australia. We start with the queen's pawn. We can play now the queen's gambit. So we're gonna play this move. What is very important in chess is to take the center, right, with your pawns, because you control these very, very important squares. Now there is the first mistake played by black, which is knight f6. The reason being, if I take and they take with the knight, I could play a move like e4 and I'm gaining a tempo. Why? Because I'm developing my pawn and at the same time attacking a piece that he has to move twice. And also, look, I'm going to show you, I'm going to take. If he takes with the queen, he's also losing a tempo because I am developing now this knight on this square like this. And now I'm attacking the queen that he has to move one more time. And I'm going to take the center after by playing a move like this. And this is super important to take the center in chess. That's the first principle. Second is develop your pieces. Look what he's doing. It's pretty smart actually. By playing this move, the knight is pinned. And this is what we call an absolute pin. Because you can never move it because there is a king behind it. If there was just a queen behind it, it would be a relative pin, which means you can still move the knight even if you lose the queen behind it. But when there is a king, it's an absolute pin and you cannot move it. But now what it does is that I cannot play this move because he would take with the knight because this one is pinned by the queen. So that's actually a good move what he did. But we're still gonna develop our pieces. We know the second principle is try to castle as quickly as possible in chess. So for this, I need to remove these two pieces from here. And the king safety is very important. So I'm gonna play this. Then I'm gonna think about developing this piece. And then the king is gonna go this way. He's developing his pieces very properly. There is no issue with this. He's maybe threatening to play a move like this. So we have to double the pawns. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna play e3. So if he takes, I don't have to take with the pawn and damage my pawn structure because if my pawn ends up here after taking, then I would have what we call doubled pawns. Here he's playing this. He's playing very principled chess. He wants to develop his bishop and then castle, which is perfectly fine, by the way, for a 556. He's playing very well so far. Now we're gonna unpin basically our knight to be able to castle next. It's very important to have these three pawns in front of our king when we castle. Now he's playing bishop b4 and he's basically telling us, I'm gonna take your knight. And then when you take, I'm gonna take with the queen. Now I'm thinking, should I castle? Or should I play a move like this, for instance, protecting the knight? Or should I just protect the knight playing the queen on b3? You see, you have a lot of like different options in chess that you have to calculate. I mean, usually I would have played basically castle and letting him take, and queen takes. And then trying to play with maybe the bishop here and quick development, the rook attacking the pawn, etc. But here we're going to play very principled and normal chess. I'm just going to play this. And now I'm protecting actually the knight. So you see, I'm not doing anything special. And then my next move is going to be to castle. And you'll see, usually at 500 elo, what happens is that he's going to start making some strategic mistakes during the game. Here, he should just castle, I think. I think it's perfectly fine. This move as well is perfectly fine. We can just put the bishop here. This is not an issue. If he takes the bishop, we can just take back. And then we still want to castle. This is our goal. We just want to castle, put the king safe, and then we continue our development. And what is not developed here, and what is the biggest problem in white's position, I would say, is this bishop. Because of this pawn, this bishop basically can never be developed. So that's an issue. Okay, so this is the first mistake. The reason being, when you put a pawn like this, the issue of this is that now these squares become very weak. And remember, you're gonna have to castle. So your king will be here, basically. So having these two blue squares weak is not ideal. And also what you're doing by doing this is that now you're reducing actually the squares of your bishop, of your light square bishop. Okay, you will exchange it at some point, but there was actually no reason to play a move like this because it's not achieving anything. You see how basically he's leaving his king in the center. He's not thinking about the king safety. He should have played a move like this already. Or maybe he wants to long castle, which would be a mistake. You can either short castle or long castle. The issue with long castle is that once the king is here, this column is semi-open because I don't have a white pawn on this column, which means my rook, when I put it here one day, will be basically attacking this pawn. And the king is just behind it if he long castles. So that would be a mistake. So now I'm thinking a bit. Let's think for a second. I continue my development. I'm not going to do anything special. This bishop was the last piece really to be developed. So I continue, and right now I finish my development pretty much. And like this, what I can do is that the next move, I can start basically attacking his pieces so they retreat. I'm going to play a3, attacking this bishop. Then I'm going to push this one, attacking the queen. That's my plan. So let's go. Let's go with it. If he gives us the bishop, we're super happy because the dark squares here, because of this move, the dark squares in red here that you see are actually super weak. So if he gives us actually the bishop, that is a dark square bishop, then he can never control these squares. And if he goes back, then it's a kind of a concession, I would say. And now you can just push, attacking the queen. Also, if he goes back, there is actually better, because now, actually I could try to trap him by playing a move like this to block this square. That's the idea. And then what I want to do is push this, and this bishop would be trapped. Let's see if he sees it. So I'm going to play this. So the point is that actually I'm controlling this square. And my threat now is to actually push this pawn here, attacking this one. And this one would have no square. And you see how this move actually creates this kind of problems. If the pawn wasn't here, if he didn't push it, he could retreat with the bishop to that square. That's the big difference. Now what he should do, I would say, is exchange the bishop, because this bishop is actually in danger. He should just exchange it and try to play this way. But the position is a little bit hard for him already to play, just because of a move like this, which is pretty crazy, right? And also, the queen shouldn't be here. In this position, the queen should be still here or here. As you can see, the queen being here is not achieving anything. And also, if I move my knight, now the bishop is attacking the queen. So you have to be careful in chess where you put your queen as well, to not be under attack. Maybe he should play at some point a move like this and the queen to go back, right? So he's thinking, but I would say now he's forced to take my bishop, because I don't know if he sees the threat. I repeat, the threat is to push in the center, right? Okay, and then the plan for us is going to be pretty simple. We're going to bring the rook here. We're going to bring the other rook here. We're going to have the rooks here. And we're going to try to attack basically on this column and this one. And we're going to try to push basically the pawns. That's what we're going to do. Okay, as you can see here, this is another principle, is of course why you take the center. As you can see, we have a strong center. When we push the pawn here, the center would be actually even stronger, bothering his pieces. And yeah, and then you can keep pushing like this and creating, for instance, if a pawn arrives here, now he's creating a fork, etc. Okay, so he's making the mistake, right? He's playing this because he wants to retreat with his queen. But he missed that after this move. So we're going to play it. This bishop has no square. So this is the reason why we played this move. We prepared a little trap and he fell into it. As you can see, so he could maybe sacrifice like this. But yes, at a certain level, basically people resign here with black, because obviously you're playing with a piece down. But at your level, I mean, you can still keep playing. You know what we say, I mean, when you have basically amateurs playing, the result of the game depends on who's the person who makes the last mistake. I would say here, yeah, he didn't see this move. That's going to be pretty hard for him to do something about it. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 controlling actually this pawn, and he's only attacking it twice, right? So you see what happened in this game. We actually didn't do anything special. We took the center with our pawns. We put our knights out. Try to put your knights out before your bishops. Then we developed our bishops. And then we put the king safe. He has now 3 pawns. The reason why you castle is because when you take the center with your pawns and the king is still here, I'm going to put it in blue. The problem is that now he doesn't have his pawns in front protecting him. That's the reason why you castle, because now, basically when you take the center, you kind of destroyed, the protection of your own king, because the pawns are not there anymore. What you do is that you take him there, and he has a new house in a way, because now these pawns, and don't make the mistake to actually start pushing these pawns too early. These pawns are not there to do this. At a certain level, you will see this, but not when you start chess. right? So this one is fine, this one is fine, but not two squares ahead. Try not to do this, yeah? Okay, he's taking a lot of time. He has 3 minutes left now. Yeah. So he plays queen c7. Okay, so we're just gonna take the piece, I mean, that is given to us, right? And here he shouldn't take with this pawn, huh? As I said, it's very important to keep pawns in front of the king. So he should obviously take with this one, okay? You make sure that you leave these pawns basically to protect your king in a way, all right? And now we're gonna play this. We're gonna put the rook here on a semi-open file. We have a little trap that we wanna do. I mean, that's not a trap, but maybe we can play this move next. The reason is that if he takes, now the queen here would take the queen, the bishop would take the queen back, and then the rook would take. So he could play this. So he plays bishop f4. Okay, he shouldn't try to exchange actually pieces here because he's one piece down. When you're one piece down, another principle for you. If you're down material, imagine that all the pieces actually get exchanged to the end game. What's gonna happen? Let's say you're a bishop down. What's gonna happen is that you're gonna end up with, let's say, pawns at the end. He has pawns as well, but now you're a bishop up at the end when all the pieces have been exchanged. So it's a super easy win basically at the end of the game. So he shouldn't play this move. He should instead try to attack my king and find some counter chances to checkmate me, because if the game continues, I could take. If the game continues, he's gonna be, I mean, much worse as the moves go. Here I could simply take, right? That's the first thing that I see. I could also play this, but I don't think it achieved much because he can also play. Just retreats the queen. He doesn't necessarily have to take my knight. Or I could simply just. And he's gonna take back. And then maybe proposing an exchange of queens. Why not? You play the queen here when his queen is here. Trying to exchange the queens. You're one piece up. So what you wanna do when you're one piece up, the queen is very powerful on the board. She's always gonna try to find, ways to actually checkmate you, etc. So that's the reason why I play a move like this. And I'm telling him, listen, let's go to an endgame. I actually don't want you to have this little trick to try to checkmate me because you still have the queen on the board. It's perfect that he's exchanged it. Obviously, he shouldn't exchange the queen because now he doesn't have any attacking chances. Because look at my king now, how safe my king is looking here. Before all these pieces create basically threats on my king, it's going to take a lot of time. So he should have kept the bishop because he was one piece down. He should have kept the queen as well, right? And now, okay, the game can continue, but he has 1 minute 48. So, but this is going to be very simple. This is a file that is open. There is no pawn on this file for the rook. That's why this is a good move. And maybe one day he's trying to come here if I allow him to. But we're going to do something where we're going to contest the column, which means we're going to put our rook here so we don't let him control this column. When someone plays this, if you have the possibility to put a rook here, just do it. So now he cannot control basically all these squares by himself. You tell him, listen, I'm here. I can control these squares as well, okay? So here, my feeling is that he will exchange this rook against this one. Yeah, I was sure, because you saw, I mean, you can guess the type of players, and this is another mistake, exchanging too many pieces. People have this thing when they start chess where we've all been there, where you think like, the game is going to be less complex if I exchange pieces and there is less pieces on the board. If anything, I would say that the endgames, this is an endgame, where the queens disappear from the board, etc., are actually much harder. Because now you have more free squares to calculate. It's actually much harder to actually play an endgame compared to playing openings, for instance. So here what we're going to do, whenever you have a rook on an open file, the best square for the rook is going to be e7. Because now the rook is controlling the 7th rank. This is amazing. I'm putting pressure on this one, putting pressure on this. We're not far from the king. This is what you want to do, okay? So this is what we're going to do here. We're going to play this move. Now it's bothering him because this knight cannot move. Otherwise, I would take this one, right? And if he moves now this knight, I may take the pawn here. So you see how powerful actually a rook on the 7th rank is, right? It's not easy to play against this, but that's the way you play with the rooks. You go like this, you contest the column, then you put it on the 7th rank. That's how you want to play. This is where they are powerful, basically. Okay, maybe he's gonna propose another exchange with the rook. He shouldn't, obviously. Maybe yeah. You see, that's another thing where he thinks that exchanging pieces is good. I'm just gonna do it so I show you that basically, look at this position now. He has 2 knights, right? Let's say we play a move like knight c4, controlling this square. We don't want him to come here. And also one day, when you have this kind of structure, it's good to have a knight that goes to this square, like this. So we're just gonna play it. Because you see you're attacking these two, and if this one moves like he just did, what you can do is that you can take the other one. So actually you can take the other one. But you can, and the pawns are gonna fall because I have one piece up. So it's gonna be very hard for him to just defend all these things. Now there is another pawn that falls. And once the pawns disappear from the queen side, from here, what you will do is that these 2 pawns now, these 2 pawns are just gonna go to promotion, okay? To promote to a queen. So we're gonna take, and now we're pushing this. No way around it. As you can see, for him, pushing here doesn't achieve anything because, well, I have my soldiers. You understand why it's important to have the king safe here. I'm just gonna keep pushing, and I'm gonna go and do a queen, and that's it. I actually don't even care if he takes because I'm just gonna take back, or actually, you know what? I mean, there's actually no reason. I can just go to queen, it doesn't matter. He can even take this one if he wants. I'm still gonna queen, right? Now he wants to push, now we're gonna take. When he moves the knight, we're gonna get a queen. Okay, he resigned. So I hope you like this. And there was a lot of principles that you can apply in your games. As you can see, it's very simple stuff. Less harder than you think. All right, I'll see you on the next video.